I am Bablet Jonathan, and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television, live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. In our top stories in this edition of the news, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon are locking horns against Guinea-Bissau in their first encounter in the ongoing 2019 Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. Also in this newscast, we shall talk about the Cameroonian ambassador to Switzerland who has gone to war against an anti-beer protest planned for Saturday in Geneva, with Cameroonians set to be preparing to come from different parts of Europe to protest at the Intercontinental Hotel against President Paul Biya's presence in Switzerland. We will also show you the difficult, deadly conditions in which inhabitants of the Bui division and the Ndonga Mantum division in the northwest region of Cameroon are living as a result of the deepening Anglophone crisis. The ambassador of Cameroon to Switzerland has condemned a planned protest against the president of the Republic of Cameroon in Geneva, Switzerland. In a press statement, Ambassador Leonard Henry Binzi qualifies the anti-beer move as barbaric. Ambassador Leonard Henry Binzi is warning that the organizers of the protest bill for Saturday will face the law. He highlights the risks they are facing if they violate Swiss laws, and he says information at his disposal indicate that the method, means and motives of the planned protest in front of the Intercontinental Hotel, where President Paul Biya is lodging, is going to be violent. And of course, the press statement of the ambassador Binzi also states that strategic measures have been taken with Swiss authorities and in conformity to international laws and diplomatic norms to turn down the protests, of course, to book down the protesters coming from across Europe. He called on all Cameroonians in Switzerland and other parts of Europe to boycott the anti-beer protest and rather work for peace and living together. I told you in the headlines that we're going to show you the difficult and deadly conditions in which inhabitants of the Bui division and the Ndonga Mantum division in the northwest region of Cameroon are living as a result of the deepening Anglophone crisis. A special envoy to those parts of the crisis hit northwest region, Stella files in details on Bamenda.
Undertaking the journey from Bamenda in Bezam Division, Trundop in Gokutunja, Kumbo in Bui, up to Nkambe in Ndonga Mantum Division is now left for those described as the most courageous. The journey is most often characterized by gun battles and checks by both the defense and security forces and the separatists, otherwise known as the Yamba Boys. These clashes have not only been violent but have also been bloody. Along the about 187 kilometers from Bamenda to Nkambe, many have lost their lives while others have been named for life. The area has been abandoned by majority of its occupants. Evident is abandoned business premises and homes with grass overtaking them. In Nkambe, headquarters of Ndonga Mantum, life seems to be normal. However, the effects of the Anglophone crisis are being felt by the population.
Like 2 months as for now, if you talk now, better. Maggie will be the buyer 4 or 5, but now 5.
Tourism as well as transportation has greatly been affected.
We don't have tourists, they are not coming. Most of the offices in Cameroon is controlled by people or delegation in Bamenda town at the regional headquarters. So when they don't come, we don't have us guests that we can lodge in the hotel. The restaurants department in this Awafi Hotel in Cambe was closed down. It's getting 1 year presently. Presently, I'm left with one person. So we are the two of us open. I, the receptionist, and the wash night. The last time I received a guest in this hotel was the 5th of June, 2018.
I think them they know the work.
So motor used to pass with this road? You don't stay how long motor will pass?
You don't stay.
Don't reach 1 year?
Yes.
So how now they manage?
The dusty and rusty nature of this hotel room in Cambe is an indication that everyone feels the pinch of the hardship exerted by the socio-political tensions in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. A return to normalcy is the desire in every heart.
And the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, says 1.3 million people, including 680,000 children, are in urgent need of humanitarian aid in the two Anglophone regions of the country as the socio-political and security crisis continues deepening further. This is contained in the last report of that organization on the Anglophone crisis. For me, I'm Sanda has more.
In a situational report on children caught in the war in the northwest and southwest regions, the United Nations Children Emergency Fund UNICEF, through its spokesperson Toby Africa, says 1.3 million people, including 650,000 children, are in need of humanitarian assistance in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon as the security situation deepens further. Speaking at the Palais de la Nation in Geneva, Switzerland, the UNICEF officials said 450,000 of the 1.3 million persons in need are internally displaced, with more than half of them being women and children. Toby Africa also regretted that the close to 3-year conflict has had a devastating impact on the children's education, and the children with their families suffer, among other things, attacks on homes, education, sexual violence, abduction, and trauma from the armed violence. UNICEF also noted that restrictions on circulation and lockdown caused by non-state armed groups have adversely affected the people's freedom of movement and the delivery of humanitarian assistance. Thousands of people in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon lack access or have limited access to basic services such as health care and safe drinking water, with their livelihoods destroyed. UNICEF said about 40% of health facilities in the southwest region were not functioning as of December 2018, and as of the same time, 80% of schools in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon were closed, affecting some 600,000 children in the regions. UNICEF spokesperson said the institution, working with some partners, has given some sanitation kits to some 7,000 to 8,000 persons, and some 30,000 children have been given psychosocial support, warning that schools and classrooms must provide safe spaces, especially for children, as the crisis worsens further, in order to restore a sense of normalcy. UNICEF says some $20 million is needed to effectively respond to the emergency in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon.
The commanders of the 52nd Motorized Infantry Battalion and the Gendarmerie in Cambe and Kumbu, respectively, still in the northwest region of the country, have been commissioned into their functions. They are taking over duty in an atmosphere of tension and difficult socio-political climate reigning in those parts of the northwest regions of the country. Should be noted that Cambe and Kumbu are some of the worst hit areas, notably as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. Our correspondent in the northwest region, Bustela, reports.
The dismantling of roadblocks and checkpoints mounted by the separatist fighters makes this 5-hour journey from Bamenda to Kambe to over 8 hours. The trip was undertaken this time to install appointed military heads in Kambe and Kumbu. Major Nyangonoze Shali Eric has been installed as commander of the 52nd Motorized Infantry Battalion. He takes over at a time when Kambe is seemingly safe. The battalion commander is aware of the tasks ahead.
The population is in the center of our action. The population is a victim, and some of this population is also actor of this disorder.
In Kumbu, headquarters of Bui Division, Captain Jaku Tefo Gislen is commissioned as the company's commander. He assumes duty at a moment when the inhabitants are fleeing. They are running away as clashes between the pro-independence fighters and the defense and security forces become more violent and bloody. In Bui Division, many houses have been burned, the locals have been kicked out, many businesses have been abandoned and the proprietors have fled for safety. The famous Kumbu Squares is gradually turning into a farm field, and Captain Jaku Tefo Gislen is expected to bring an end to the insecurity as a result of the crisis. In order to achieve this and more, the newly installed count on collaboration from every stakeholder.
Population needs mostly in the northwest region or in the Dongamantun Department division is mostly security. Population need for us to provide them by security, and we need collaboration of this population to ensure that security.
Avec la collaboration des autorités administratives et des populations, nous espérons qu'on atteindra notre objectif, qui est celui de ramener le département de Kumbo au niveau où il était avant, c'est-à-dire afin qu'il retrouve sa sérénité d'antan.
The expectations of the inhabitants are high. This is translated via their representative, the mayor of Kambe municipality.
The people of Kambe have opted for peace. We know that there are difficulties. We know that there are Anglophone crises. But the methods we should take to resolve this issue is not by killing, is not by kidnapping. I think we should discuss, we should speak out what the issues are, and we should propose the solutions which go without damage and killing.
The strictly military event in Kambe and Kumbu ends with a march past by the troops, led by the newly installed officers.
Inhabitants of Banguren in the west region of Cameroon are gripped by fear as the Anglophone crisis continues spilling into parts of the west and the littoral regions of the country, with recurrent attacks attributed to suspected pro-independence fighters in localities like Banguren and of course Fongotongo in the west region of the country, and other localities along the border between the littoral and the southwest regions. Immaculate Fogwe has more.
4 months after the deadly attack carried out by armed men who killed 5 persons, kidnapped 3 others and burned over 80 houses in Banguren in the Nun division by suspected separatist fighters, inhabitants of that part of the west region say they have been living in fear. Here in Banguren, things are not moving on well. Without security, we cannot live in peace due to the activities carried out by some separatist fighters. If the forces of law and order were not stationed in our area, then we would have been constantly attacked. We are still living in fear here in Banguren. The government has to protect the population. If it happens that the forces of law and order leave the area, then we will be forced to equally move away from the village. The Sultan, Bombonjoya, comes visiting the area and calls on them not to carry out any revengeful act, but rather promote peace. The Anglophone crisis has come along with far-reaching consequences that has been spilling over in other neighboring areas.
A mysterious human skull is discovered in a sugarcane plantation in Banjok. It is in the central region of the Republic of Cameroon, and this skull provoked a conflict between municipal authorities and officials of the Banjok District Hospital, and it took a lot of time for the municipal authorities to accept to bury the skull that was discovered in a sugarcane plantation in that locality. For me, Armstrong Sander reports.
This bag deposited at the entrance to the Banjok Municipal Council building has an abnormal content. It is said to have been deposited by a health worker on duty in one of the hospitals in the town of Banjok. The content is a human skull discovered in one of the plantations of Sosokam at a place known as Mongolo Sisang since May 24, 2019. Authorities in Banjok had decided after the macabre discovery that the skull be kept at the Banjok District Hospital. But few weeks after the discovery, the Banjok District Hospital officials opted to do away with the frightening skull by dropping it secretly at the council building for burial, an act outrightly condemned by municipal council authorities of this area, who categorically say they are not ready to bury it, advancing their argument. The council thinks it is a sign of lack of respect on the part of hospital officials. The hospital director, speaking off microphone, said he tried several times to talk with the mayor of the municipality on the issue without success, whereas security and judicial authorities of the area had long given a go-ahead for the mysterious human skull to be buried. After the long show of strength between the municipal council and district hospital officials of Banjok, the council finally accepted to bury the mysterious skull, but stated clearly that the decision is fully that of their hierarchy. 1 month after the frightening discovery, the wave of panic has gone, but unanswered questions loom in Banjok over the origin and circumstances under which the skull of a human being found itself in one of the sugarcane plantations in Banjok.
Coming up, we take you to a locality in the Mongo division, the locality of Lonako, which recently suffered a natural catastrophe, and a huge damage has been recorded as a result of that catastrophe which occurred in that locality in the Mongo division of the littoral region of Cameroon. Hemin Iluga reports.
The last heavy rainpours of Saturday breaking Sunday leaves fresh memories in the minds of the Lonako population in the Mungo division of Cameroon. We can't find anything, we are lost. We don't know how we even got here. We are finished in Kongsamba. If I tell you that we sowed crops here, you won't imagine. Meanwhile, we had a lot on the farmland. It's very serious. It's a landslide which occurred at night, and the water had about a 15 meters height. That's how it ravished the woods. If it occurred during the day, we would have had lots of dirt registered, because this place is so busy during the day. People wash clothes and even catch fish in the local water. I have been here for more than 10 years. We have never experienced this. It's eventually the rainy season in Cameroon, and on this side, rain comes along with battle men. A situation showing up to be a paradox for some dwellers who think better strategy would have been used by authorities to channel the mountain water source into home-based dry taps. Let authorities give us water because we have dry taps. Meanwhile, plenty of water cut off the mountain. The rains have so far left enormous loss on farmlands, landslides recorded, and boundaries are hardly identified as the entire heat zone has been left topsy-turvy by the running water. This after the said erosion, a blend of local administrators and traditional rulers descended to the field in a bid to be abreast with the situation. The situation is serious and we are yet to spot all the entire loss. A committee has been put in place to study the incident, and later on we would look into assisting victims of the catastrophe. Even though natural catastrophes would hardly be outsmarted by man, the mayor of Kongsamba warned and traditional authorities promised the victims to put the situation under control.
Up next, Smart's own side of the AFCON. With us into Smart's own side of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, and we are receiving our sportsman, Smart Jikan Gabriel. You welcome.
Yes, good evening to you, Babila.
The indomitable Lions of Cameroon are now locking horns with Guinea-Bissau in their first encounter in the 2019 AFCON.
It is the fourth time Guinea-Bissau and the indomitable Lions of Cameroon will be confronting in an international or maybe in a competitive game, but it is the second time they are meeting in an African Nations Cup tournament. It should be noted that the Juntos of Guinea-Bissau were in the group stage of the African Nations Cup when Cameroon won in Gabon. That was in 2017. One guy they called Piketty was the one who gave Cameroon gave Cameroon some trouble before Cameroon came from behind to beat them 2-1. That was in the group stage of the African Nations Cup out there in Gabon, and of course Cameroon won by 2-0. It should be noted that the fourth meeting this day is one that the Guinea-Bissau side will be struggling to get a revenge on the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, who have always beaten the Guinea-Bissau side. It should be noted the fourth time they are playing now. 3 wins for Cameroon in their previous encounters, and for now, as before we came into the studio, it should be noted the match was still at a virgin point, that is 0-0 each side. Cameroon is have not yet found a goal, just like Guinea-Bissau. It has been a balanced game, though the two sides have been showing some good signs. So definitely we shall be coming back on Wednesday to talk more on this encounter.
And on the pitch right now we have Andre Onana, Yaya Banana, Chakunti. We equally have Ngade, Michael Oyongo Bitolo, Manjek Njum Angisa. We equally have Muting, that is Chupo Muting, who is the captain, as well as Ekambi and Christian Basogog. Now we're going to talk about the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon, who were booted out of the 2019 World Cup by England.
Yes, the indomitable Lionesses, I want to tell you that maybe they were victims of the video assistance referee. You remember the last game against England, the Lionesses of Coach Alain Jumfa almost in 2 occasions wanted to stop that game out there in France, but unfortunately, or fortunately, they did not do that. Notwithstanding, we have an official in the Confederation of African Football who has actually put this case, this behavior of the Lionesses into question, and there's an ongoing investigation about the behavior of the indomitable Lionesses, who on 2 occasions actually wanted to stop playing, but unfortunately they did not. Unfortunately, they didn't actually attempt to stop playing. And just to note, the Lionesses returned back to the country this early morning, so they are back in country. They came through the Insimalen International Airport of Yaoundé, and I want to tell you it has been a very, very nice experience for the indomitable Lionesses. Remember, during the group stages. They were beaten on 2 occasions. They lost to Canada 1-0. Netherlands trashed them by 3-1, and of course they came from a goal down to defeat the New Zealand side by 2-1 before finally succumbing to England at the round of 16 by 3-0, which actually saw them out.
A very good experience, as you indicated, which ended rather on tears as a result of the outcry of injustice and
the video assistant refereeing, the mechanics brought into the games is what actually caused that cry from Shoot Ajara, who was the man or the woman of the match or the lady of the match in the game against New Zealand. And just for us to know that with this evening, Clarence Seedorf is on the pitch, as we know, and of course,
and that is his litmus test as far as his post as Indomitable Lions head coach is concerned.
Yes, and it should be noted it is the 7th game Clarence Seedorf will be playing as a head coach of the Indomitable Lions. The 6 previous games he has played like a head coach for the Indomitable Lions, he has recorded 2 victories, 2 draws, and 2 defeats. So this 7th encounter that is going to oversee, many people are asking questions: is it going to be a draw that is going to add to 3? Is it going to be a win that is going to add to 3, or is it going to be a defeat that is going to add to 3? So at the end of 90 minutes today, we shall be talking about that. And another game that will be coming up in Cameroon's pool this evening is going to be that game that will pit the Black Stars of Ghana to the Squirrels of Benin. Black Stars of Ghana, remember, if we have to go through their head-to-head count with Benin, it should be noted that they've played 18 matches this far, and of course 11 wins for Black Stars and 4 draws, while they have been defeated 3 times by Benin. On the opposite side, you want to understand that Benin has beaten Ghana 3 times, they have drawn 4 times, and they have recorded as many as 11 defeats. So the Black Stars of Ghana will be the next on the pitch out there in Ishmaelia. And we had time to look at the record man, who is Asamoah Gyan. Asamoah Gyan is one of those, the talisman for the Black Stars. You know, he was dropped during this Nations Cup, but a presidential decree signed brought him back as the overall captain, even though we have a captain within the national team. So Asamoah Gyan is like the overall head boy of the national football team, but on the pitch, he is going to be captained by Andre Ayew, who is the son of Dede Ayew that we know so well. Is an icon in the course of football. Now
we're going to wrap up with some side attractions.
Some trials before that, just for us to talk about the game yesterday. We had Mali. Mali became one of the first nations to score 4 goals at the ongoing football jamboree in Egypt. It should be recalled that they defeated their opponents, Mauritania, who were greenhorns, by 4-1 yesterday, and it was a game that has this far recorded the highest goals, 5 goals in a single game. And yesterday, matches of Monday, we had a total number of 8 goals scored this far. It implies that match day 4 was the highest day that we saw goals scored in Egypt. And finally, as you put it, we are going to wrap up with some side attraction. Remember, on March day 1, the Democratic Republic of Congo were beaten by Uganda, and the players of the DRC, they call them the Red Devils, they sent a message, they made a video, sent to their fans back at home, asking for pardon, and they promised to do better in their next match. So we are asking questions: if they are beaten again in the next game, I say, are they going to still ask for pardon from their fans? And will the fans pardon them too? It's a question mark.
Thanks, sportsman Smart Jikan Gabriel. That was Smart's own side of the 2019 AFCON. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.